Police say a driver intentionally drove into a crowd, killing 10 people. Investigators in Toronto not ruling out terrorism.
10 lives were claimed, 15 people were injured. The brutal force of the large van leaving some dead at the scene, others fighting for their lives as they were rushed to nearby hospitals for care of severe wounds.
It's a tense moment. An officer arrives on the scene alone to face a suspect who appears armed and defiant, ignoring the order to surrender.
Come on, get down! No, get down! Get down! I'm cutting my pocket. I'm up there, get down! I'm cutting my pocket. Get down! Get down, you get shot! Lead ahead!
Still ignoring the warnings, Minassian moves in on the officer, who stays cool, realizing there's no gun, and the suspect surrenders. It's over in less than 30 seconds with no shots fired and no more casualties.
He just went on the sidewalk. He just started hitting everybody, man. The bus stop, everything got shattered because a lot of people got hurt. I've seen a scene I've never seen in my life.
And then as soon as I backed out, that old lady got hit right away. Because he was looking at me, and then he saw that old lady, and he turned left a little bit to hit the lady on the sidewalk, and then he started driving down. As soon as he passed my car, he turned around, he looked at me face to face. That's when I saw he was a very angry and scared young guy.
It's been a day of trying to read his face. Is there something there from high school or more recently that suggested what Alek Minassian was going to do? His expression betrayed nothing today as he appeared in court. Wearing a white jumpsuit, hands cuffed behind his back, he answered the judge's brief questions in a clear, steady voice. The agonized expression was worn by a man seen weeping in the front row, believed to be Minassian's father.
And this is Vic Minassian, the father of the accused, Alek Minassian, as he left Finch Courts today saying, "I'm sorry, I can't," to the hordes of media gathered there.
A picture is emerging now of Minassian's last several months. He joined the Canadian Forces last fall at this base in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, Quebec, but quit basic training after only 16 days. A senior Canadian Forces official told CBC News Minassian was an average to below average recruit. He had problems with dress, deportment, and group interactions in a military setting. He went back to Seneca College in Toronto to finish his computer studies. A fellow student who didn't want to be named described Minassian as smart, the pillar of the group, but also as so awkward. Just last Thursday, when Minassian finished his courses, he posted this message to some classmates on a chat group. Finally finished college. F you all and good riddance. And just yesterday, the Facebook message CBC News reported on last night. That post begins with what may be a reference to his failed Army experience. Private recruit Minassian Infantry.
The message was strange and posted shortly before the alleged attack. It reads in part, "The incel rebellion has already begun. We will overthrow all the Chads and Stacys. All hail Supreme Gentleman Elliot Rodger. Chads are sexually successful men, and Stacys are unattainable
I don't know why
women.
you girls aren't attracted to me, but I will punish you all for it."
Rodger killed 6 people in a rampage in California 4 years ago, posting this ranting video just before. He was angry about being rebuffed by women, making him a so-called incel or involuntary celibate.
Hi, I'm James Williams and this is Chimes Media. There's various people looking into, quite naturally looking into, why did he do it? What happened? You know, was he a maniac? Was he mentally ill? Did he belong to a terror group? This sort of stuff. And all these sort of people, their various prejudices and axes to grind, come out to look for a stereotypic example of this guy who did this terrible thing. One of the things that's mentioned is incel, which is, because I think that was one of his tweets, that's an incelibate group, forced in celibacy by young men who can't, well, for whatever reason, have relationships with women, and they're resentful to women and take it out on them. You know, all these different various group associations come out with people who have got something to say about or against a particular group. Now, when looking at these things, looking at this thing, naturally we want answers. Why does this happen? Can we prevent this from happening again? My look at things is, my take on things is that we should look first of all at psychology to see what it is, and it doesn't matter whether it's a white guy doing something or a Muslim or whatever it is that's doing something. You should start with the psychology of the person that has done the atrocity that they have, and try to work from there. Is there something which they were born with, a personal mental defect or something, as in the case of psychopaths? Or was it that something in their mental state caused them to move into a form of insanity that turned them into functioning sociopaths effectively? You know, that's the way to go to approach things, to start with the psychology of that person, rather than to condemn all groups that he may or may not have been associated with. You know, there's going to be lots of people who could associate with incel who I've never heard of until this instant. But they are not violent. They don't go out and kill people. They might be resentful. They may have some hatred for women, but they're not killers. And so the mistake is to get drawn into this group association. Start with the psychology, and then look at the links. And in that person's links, is there something, a person, a pressure, a motive that triggered him or helped to nudge him along the way to committing a terribly atrocious act? Okay. Now, the other thing is, there was I do write about it, and it's not all published yet. Some of it's been, only a little bit of my work has been published. But I look at things like crises and problems, and whether it's a civilizational problem or a small problem. Very often you'll get the hero comes forward at a particular time, and that person is very often doesn't ask for it. They don't sort of normally put their hand up. They're forced into that situation. And in this Minassian incident, there was one very distinct hero, and that was the police constable Ken Lam, who had the complacency and control of mind that he did not shoot, and he will always go down as the cop that did not fire. And he showed ultimate. That was a special form of courage that guy exercised, and I hope he gets lots of medals and praise, because he deserves it, and he's a credit to police forces across the world, and an example of how to control yourself in that situation. I mean, many people would have blown this Alek Minassian away. They would have blown him away. He did not. He took him down and did it in the most non-violent fashion. So I think there should be global praise for this guy, and he should be held up as an example. Thanks for watching, and take care till next time. Bye.